Caesar King is finally here! With our 1.2 patch in Zenless Zone Zero, I was granted early access to test Caesar, and I can firmly say that she is fantastic. In this video today, we will break down everything about her so that you are ready to optimize her abilities. Everything from her kit, team synergies, and of course, her best builds. Grab yourself some Oreos and let's do this. As a reminder, all of the content in this video is from the creator beta server of Zenless Zone Zero. Because this is based on that beta server, this may in fact change for the online results and values, although probably pretty minor. Thank you very much to Hoyoverse for granting early access, and with that being said, let's check out Caesar King! Caesar King is our upcoming S-rank physical defense unit heralding from the Sons of Kaladin. Her kit will primarily focus on two concepts. First, take note of this meter right here by her character model. This is the Radiant Aegis Shield. As we will see from her core passive in just a moment, this provides the entire team with a shared, massive shield when Caesar uses some of her moves. Second is her most important part of the kit, her special attack. In basic terms, think of Caesar's specials as parries. When you perfect parry, you will inflict a ton of daze and other aspects. Let's start discussing this by looking at the full moveset. Caesar's basic attack Rampaging Slash is a simple 6-slash move dealing physical damage. But there's an extra caveat here. If you hold the basic attack button, you will activate Dead End. Note that this will cost 1 assist point. This will still deal physical damage, but toss the shield in a large area surrounding Caesar and vacuuming the enemies in. As I stated previously, Caesar's most important aspect is the special attacks. Firstly, no matter if you use the version with energy or not, you'll get a general buff called Stance Switch. Anytime Caesar triggers a perfect block, retaliation, which we'll talk about in a second, or defensive assist, her impact is increased by 9% for 3 seconds, which is a nice neat little buff. The version without energy is called Shockwave Shield Bash. While this looks like a lot of info, it breaks down as such. She will strike forward dealing physical damage. If you perfect parry, meaning you hit the special attack button as the enemy is hitting you, you will trigger a perfect block. This will negate the damage and automatically follow up with special attack Roaring Thrust. Anti-interrupt is increased and the character is invulnerable when using the skill after perfect block or retaliation. But to know exactly what retaliation is, let's take a look at the second half of this big old text box. Basically, all this describes what happens when you don't perfect block. Caesar will hold the guard stance, reducing 40% of damage. When an enemy hits Caesar, she will be slightly knocked back. In this moment, you can use the special attack button to trigger retaliation. Similarly, this retaliation will also go into follow-up attacks based on if you have energy or not. Both of these will lead directly into the special attack follow-ups. Now for the special attack with energy, Parry Counter. Don't worry about all the text here as it basically functions the same as the previous version. The damage will ultimately be higher as well as the daze numbers. The main difference here though is that the EX special will go into a corresponding follow-up attack, Overpowered Shield Bash. This will also function the same as the previous follow-up. The main difference here is that when you trigger the perfect block with the EX version, you will recover the energy used. All in all, once you master the timing of these special attacks, everything else will fall into place for Caesar's kit. It may seem to be a lot of information in text, but just remember the difference of retaliation versus perfect block, and always make sure you're using the follow-ups. And of course, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below and I'd be more than happy to answer them. Moving on to dodges, Caesar's are pretty simple. The main thing to note with dash attack Hog Rush is this can also trigger that follow-up attack with special or EX special follow-up. This is done with the initial skill activation. You will take less damage, which will block the enemy attack and allow you to use that Roaring Thrust or Overpowered Shield Bash. Eye for an Eye is the dodge counter and will simply do physical damage with full invulnerability. When your decibel rating is at 3000, aka max, you know what time it is. Press Q! And Biker Waifu will activate Savage Smash, tossing her shield with a powerful spinning attack and a strong downward strike dealing massive physical damage. An extra addition is 45% increased daze dealt to enemies if they have a shield. The last thing in Caesar's kit, and quite possibly a source of major value for her, is the crazy good core passives. Barrier of Resilience is that radiant Aegis meter we alluded to earlier. When Caesar activates EX Special, Chain Attack, Ultimate, or the EX Overpowered Shield Bash follow-up, the entire team gets a shared radiant Aegis shield. This shield will be shared by all units and will be 300% of Caesar's impact stat plus 200. An added bonus is that this shield cannot be one-shot through. Anti-interrupt is increased a lot, to the point where basically nothing really can stop your attacks anymore. Also, anyone who wears the shield will have their attack increased by 40. Here's where Caesar turns into a top-tier character in my opinion. Additional ability, Battle Spirit. The effect will activate when a Sons of Caledon character or any character with a defensive assist is on the team. We will really break down the importance of this in the top secret information in the team synergy section. After all, I know you all deserve this info since you subscribed to the channel by now, right? Anyway, when Caesar activates Perfect Block, Retaliation, Defensive Assist, or Basic Attack Dead End, a debuff will be applied to every enemy within 7 meters. The debuff states that they will take 25% more damage from all teammates for 30 seconds. Not only is our shield waifu tanky and strong, but now she's an amazing support too. Overall, here's a pretty good list of skill priority when she fully releases that you should follow. Now let's switch it up a bit for this video. We know her full kit and abilities, so we can dive right in on how best to build Caesar. Following that, we can talk about how universal she is and all of the amazing team synergies she has. Starting with W engines though, her best in slot will of course be the one made for her, Tusks of Fury. The shield value provided by the equipper increases by 30%. When any squad member triggers interrupt or perfect dodge, all squad member damage increases by 18% and daze increases by 12% for 20 seconds. Not only does this make her shields even tankier, it turns her into a pretty darn good support. There is a couple of other W engines you can use on Caesar, but they sadly won't be nearly as strong as her best in slot. My second choice would be Original Transmorpher. The bonus of this is that it is craftable. The only really good thing about this W engine is that the second part increases her impact value, which is her best stat. Similarly, Spring Embrace, the Battle Pass engine, is okay with her, but still not all that great. And I definitely wouldn't recommend spending your level 30 Battle Pass on the premium side on Spring Embrace just for Caesar, especially because Original Transmorpher is craftable. Next up, of course, is the disk drives. Don't forget that we are getting 2 brand new sets with this upcoming patch. One of these, Protopunk, is actually a very good option for Caesar. Chaos Jazz will be more prevalent for a certain fiery upcoming character that I'm really excited for. With that, the 4-piece best in slot for Caesar will actually be Protopunk. You'll of course get the plus 15% shield effect, but when any squad member triggers a defensive or evasive assist, all squad member damage will increase by 15%, lasting 10 seconds. As for other 4 pieces, I have to provide a warning here. Do not use the 4-piece of Shockstar Disco. Even though Caesar is heavily based on impact, she does not use dash attack or dodge counter much at all, so the only use for that 4-piece would be the basic attacks. The other option that would actually be beneficial for 4-piece is Swing Jazz. Launching a chain attack or ultimate increases all squad members' damage by 15% for 12 seconds. In fact, because Caesar has so much daze built into her kit already, she will be launching a lot of chain attacks. As for the 2 pieces, Shockstar Disco is the best option here, although you can also use the energy regen of Swing Jazz if you're using 4-piece Protopunk. The best full set I found in all of my testing with the W engine and on a free-to-play build was 4-piece Protopunk with 2-piece Shockstar. But what about stat priority for Caesar? First, we can clearly see that her best stat is impact, and in fact some of her abilities and passives will stack as you get more. Remember also that the 4th through 6th slot on your disk drives are variable main stats. Slot 4's best for Caesar is actually up to personal preference. I tried to build my Caesar a little bit tankier with some defense percent, but if you want more sub-DPS roll, feel free to use either crit rate, crit damage, or attack. Slot 5 is the same concept, either defense percent or go physical damage boost for more sub-DPS roll. Slot 6, however, should exclusively be impact, nothing else, not even energy regen. Her substats share a similar idea to the 4th and 5th slot. Since you can't get impact as a substat, either go for more defense percent or attack percent for more DPS. You could also use anomaly proficiency on her if you want to use her with Piper or Jane. That way you have a lot more physical anomaly attribute coming through. However, as we will talk about in the team synergy section, she has a lot more versatility, so I would tend to stay towards that defense or attack percent. Let's take a quick little note here about our friends, the Bangboos. Whatever team you feature Caesar in will strongly dictate which Bangboo is the best for her. As a general sentiment, her best in slot when utilized will be the new one, Red Marcus. Caesar also has functionality for mono teams, so match up your typing with the representative Bangboo, like Rizona Boo, Rocket Boo, Shark Boo, etc. With her best builds being taken care of, let's dive into why Caesar is such an amazing unit that everyone could find use for. We chatted about this in more detail in my previous video, so check that out if you need to on why you should pull Caesar King. For now though, just note that Caesar's main value will come from a few sources. First is the fact that she has those big, beefy shields shared by the entire team. The content's gonna get tougher, so these shields will be even more important in the future. Second is physical attribute, being pretty scarce in the support and stun categories. The third and most important reason for Caesar being so high in meta value though, is her crazy versatility. Let's go into detail about this insane versatility through her team synergies, especially looking at that core passive that indicates defensive assist. But here's what this really means, the secret info that a lot of people might miss. Remember the difference between defensive assist and evasive assist. They're both activated when the enemy attacks you and you hit the spacebar or whatever your parry button is to switch to the new character. The 4 characters with evasive assist are Grace Howard, Zhu Yuan, Alexandrina, and Billy Kid. This means that Caesar King's passive will not be met just from these characters alone, but only these 4. However, this does not mean she cannot have them be in her team, as we're going to see right now. Caesar's best partner when she releases will be Lucy. For a quick reminder of the fellow Sons of Kaladin member, she will boost the stats of her fellow teammates in a couple of ways, mainly through a massive attack boost, energy regaining, and her quick assist functionality. Anyway, a good majority of the teams you will see in this section feature Lucy placed before your primary damage unit. My favorite team to use Caesar in will surprise you. It was actually the Ether team. And I know it's kinda weird. Caesar, Nicole, and Zhu Yuan in that order. This was the highest damage I could find and cleared Shiyu defense the fastest, although it was basically the same as the next couple of teams depending on type advantage, practically a tie. But here's where it gets good. Caesar just works in so many teams, it's kinda ridiculous. Some of you might be wondering about Piper. Yep, that works. And it was actually my second favorite team, the full Sons of Kaladin special. Caesar, Lucy, and Piper in that order. When Piper was doing a huge bit of anomaly, you can trigger perfect assist to switch to Caesar and rack up a ton of days very quickly. In fact, this is basically the case for any team Caesar's featured in. She will also unlock monotype teams. In this sense, it helps to think of her as a very good support and stun unit, assuming you don't have Ching Yi. Caesar, Sokaku, and Ellen for ice was very fun and very strong. Caesar, Lucy, and Soldier for fire, you get the picture. With the right team synergies and those core passives met, Caesar King just works well in most teams. In fact, it would be safe to say that she probably has the most team synergy in the game right now. But we have one more question to answer since Caesar is a limited character. If I want her to be even stronger, should I get her Mindscape 1 or Tusks of Fury, which is her signature W engine? Here's a reminder of what that signature does. Mindscape 1 is called Spearhead Advance. Once every 300 seconds or 5 minutes, when she enters combat or switches in, she'll buff the entire team with a Radiant Aegis shield. With this active, enemies within that 5-meter radius suffer a 15% attribute damage resistance reduction. In other words, a pretty significant damage boost just from having Radiant Aegis up. However, my personal choice both for Caesar and for the overall utility in general is Tusks of Fury. This will be the biggest bang for your buck in my opinion and has amazing utility and use in general. Since the W engine's 4 defense category are limited already, Tusks of Fury will be a great addition if you are in desperate need for one and don't want to spend the Battle Pass exchange on Spring Embrace. Let me be clear though, both options are extremely good and will overall boost Caesar greatly. turning her into an even stronger, tankier powerhouse of a character. In review, Caesar has a very fun, simple playstyle that can easily accommodate to any player's needs. Not only this, she has a really cool design, and I'm really starting to love the Sons of Caledon characters. In case you haven't noticed, I'm also extremely pumped for Bernice in just a couple of weeks! Build-wise, Caesar is pretty straightforward, somewhat in part due to the lack of W engines for defense units. Stick with Tusks of Fury for her main option, followed by Transmorpher or Spring Embrace. For disc drives, 4-piece Protopunk and 2-piece Shockstar will be the best. Just make sure you have that impact on slot 6 for sure. And there you have it for the full guide for Caesar King. Be sure to let me know what you think of her and if you'll be polling in the comments below. Like the video if it helped in any way, and subscribe for more Zenless Zone Zero, including some early access Bernice guides very soon. In the meantime, good luck on your Caesar King polls, and may all Caesar wanters be Caesar havers. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.